Sup guys, MSU Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you the first episode of my new series, How to Become a Better LoL Player. I was thinking a while on what I should do, I guess, for a new series, because if you watched my last video, you know that you should make your channel stand out in some way or another. So I figure I'll do this. Now I'm sure there's other people that have done something similar to this, because there are a lot of people that make League of Legends videos, but I'm going to try to make this unique in my own way. So what this series is I'm going to focus on the different aspects of the game and how to improve yourself in that. Now I'm not going to be doing champion specific guides. I might do that later, but I want to get the skeleton of it, I guess, out of the way. Get a nice background information. So first episode, obviously, is going to be decision making. Now, big part of League of Legends is making the correct decisions, knowing when to do certain things. Most of the game is making correct decisions. So the first thing you want to do is know your own abilities. Now these abilities change from champion to champion, and you want to know what you're capable of, know how much damage you do, what your abilities scale off of. This is AP, AD, sometimes health, and you want to know everything, and you want to know how that's going to affect how you play the game and how you want to build your character. You want to know your role. Now, in League of Legends, there's something called the meta, which is what each champion is guess what role each champion should fill. In the game, there's a top lane, there's a mid lane, and there's two people that go bottom lane and one person that goes jungle. Now, top lane is normally a tanky bruiser type character. Mid lane is usually an AP character, an AP character. Jungle can be a lot of things. It can be both a tank, it can be an assassin, etc. And then bottom lane, you have a duo combo of an ADC, which just focuses all out attack damage, trying to put as much damage down as fast as you can, and the support. And support's role is to protect the ADC. So once you know what role you're trying, you need to know how to play that role. Now, that'll come with playing the game, and like I said, I'm not really going to focus on that right now. I'm just going to focus on decision making. So once you know what your champion is capable of, you want to know your opponents. Now, the best thing to know in all of the game, and this will come with playing the game, but if you know this beforehand, then you will be way better off if you're just starting, and that is knowing what your opponents are capable of. For me, I've been playing for about 2 years, and I know every single champion's kit, what abilities they have, how they do damage, how to counter them, etc., etc. And knowing this, it's easier to predict what they're gonna do, but it's also easier to counter them. If you're playing against, say, an Ezreal or a Jinx or someone with a global ult, and you go into a bush to hide, there's a pretty good chance, if they have any idea what they're doing, that they're going to shoot something right after you. So, what I do in that situation is just stand in the bush for 2 seconds and then walk out, and most of the time, their ult will pass by me within a couple of seconds. This is just picking this knowledge up over time, but it's really helpful in the end. So you also need to know how they deal their damage, which is either AP or AD, or some champions like Evelynn are a mix of both. This video is more focused towards newer players, because obviously, people who have been playing for a while, like me, have a lot of knowledge about the game already, and this stuff may seem kind of pointless. So just if you're new to the game, you can listen if you want to, but I think most of the information I'm going to be going over is stuff that you already know. Next thing, not really important as much, but knowing if they're melee or ranged. That's pretty basic. I just figured I'd put it on here. Next big aspect of the game requires a ton of decision making is laning, and this is extremely important part of the game. It can decide how the game's going to come out depending on how you do. So this is highly related to what I just said before, and that it's really important to know what you're capable of and also what your opponents are capable of. I'm going to talk about bottom lane, which is the ADC and the support, if you didn't remember, and that because I play support, I main support, and that's the role that I know the best, and that's the lane that I know the best. So, what you first thing need to know is wards. Wards are extremely important. They can let you know where the opponents are when you normally wouldn't be able to see them. So in bottom lane, if you normally just want to ward the river and the bushes that are in the lane. This can allow you to know where the opponents are. Like I just said, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but another important aspect of it is clearing the enemy's wards. Now, there are these items called trinkets, which you can have them at the beginning. Most people here take the clearing wards, so these it disables all the wards in an area, and you can destroy them. Now, this is denying the enemy vision, so once you destroy that ward, they can't see. And some champions, one in particular, can clear wards very quickly. Leona is extremely good at this. The way her Q works is it resets her auto attack. So if an enemy places a ward in your bush and you're right there, like right away you can hit it once, hit it with your Q, and then hit it with another auto attack and clear it. So that's why that's my favorite champion, because it's really strong in the laning phase, and like 90% of the time I'll win that phase with my ADC. Another important aspect of the laning phase is knowing how to last hit. Last hitting is both a way for you to get money, but it's also a way for you to poke your opponent and damage them if you know what you're doing. So by hitting the minion last, by having the killing blow to it, you get the gold that minion has. As a support, I don't really try to get CS in any way, because it's taking it away from my ADC, and there's runes and masteries that can help me make up the gold that I'm missing from that. And if you're playing any other lane, so like mid or top or an ADC or even a jungle, if you see that your opponent, if you're watching your own minions and you see that one of them is getting low and that your opponent is moving forward to try and hit the minion, you can easily poke them without them poking back, because they're focused on getting the gold from the minion and not hitting you. And I mean, if you do this over time, they're going to get really low on health and have to use both of their pots, and etc., etc., etc. And although last hitting is important, it's far more important to know when you should trade and when you shouldn't, because that's a huge part of how you're going to win your lane. Because I need to know, if I go in level 1, it's not that likely that I'm going to do well. And besides knowing your own abilities and what items you've built, you need to know your ADCs, because if they've first level 1 bought boots in a health pot, they're not going to do any damage. They're just running around. That's really not that great of a build. But if they've gone with something like Doran's Blade and a health pot, then they can do a decent amount of damage really quickly. So if I know that my ADC has a really strong build right now, then I will immediately engage and take out the try to take out the enemy ADC. Also, as a support, you want to focus the ADC first, because, like I said, a support doesn't do much damage. So you just just ignore them completely whenever you're laning, for the most part, I should say, because they do absolutely nothing. Another thing you want to notice is before you trade, you want to look at the minion wave. So if the minion wave is really large, then you don't want to go in and trade, because they're all going to start attacking you. Because the way minions work, if you attack their ADC, or I'm not ADC, anyone, if you attack anyone on their team, they're going to stop hitting your minions and start hitting you. And at lower levels, that damage can be really dangerous. That can do a lot of damage to you really quickly if you're not careful. So after laning, while in laning, there's one thing they have to be really careful of, and that is ganks. Ganks are when the jungler, normally the jungler could be the mid laner, if they're doing really well in their lane, but if your laning opponent starts to get really aggressive for no reason, like if they've been standing behind their minions the entire time, then and they starting attacking you, start pushing forward through your minion wave, and you may want to be careful because that means that a gank's coming. They're being aggressive. They're trying to catch you off because most likely their jungler is going to come out of the brush really quick and start attacking you as well. So if you see that they're becoming more aggressive, then you just back off. Like, losing a couple minions is not worth dying at the early levels. You want to be in lane as much as possible. And sorry. You also need to know, along with trading as well, I'm jumping around right now, but I'll get my point across eventually, is you need to know what your opponents are building. Because if your opponent is building a lot of damage, then you should build accordingly. Like, you don't want to go in if you're out, if they are fed, if they have a lot of good items, if they can beat you in a fight. Obviously, you don't want to go in. I mean, again, most of this information you pick up over time, over playing. Just the more you play, the more that this stuff you're going to pick up. I'm just trying to give you a head start by knowing when to make the choices. And obviously, this is a lot of information. Don't try to do everything that I'm saying in one game, because you're going to get kind of overwhelmed with all the stuff you want to keep track of. So let's finish with the laning phase and move on to team fights, which is the mid and late game. Now, team fights are different based on your role. So let's say you're a tank. So this would be a top lane, it could be a top lane, could be a jungler, and could be the support. Now, as a tank, you want to soak up as much damage as possible. This is more for the jungle / top lane tank. You want to engage. You're the one that's going to engage. You're going to jump onto the enemy. You're just going to try to get their attention and try to keep them attacking you as much as possible. Now, for a support, you want to protect your ADC. It's called peeling. Now, what this is you just want to keep everyone else off of your ADC. Now, the reason there are assassins in the game is that they can get behind your lines and quickly take out one person. So, say you have someone like LeBlanc who can jump around a lot. As soon as she jumps to the first person, you want to CC lock her. You want to stun her, you want to root her, etc. You want, because normally AP champions like AP mid and ADC bot are really squishies. They die quick. So you want to make sure that no one touches your ADC because they're doing the most damage. So that's for support. Now for ADC and AP, I don't know too much about those lanes because obviously I support, so all I do is peel. But as these, all you want to do is damage. Just hit as many people as you can, as fast as you can. Don't focus the tanks. Obviously, they have the most armor. Your damage is doing the least amount of damage, I guess, against them. You want to focus the you want to focus the other ADC. You want to focus the AP. You want to focus the assassin, as long as they're not killing you. And I mean, for the most part, that's really everything. I mean, the more you learn about other champions, the more you'll be able to counter them. And also, at low levels, you don't have a huge access to your runes or masteries, which can greatly affect how you play the game. Because these can affect your attack damage, your cooldown, they can affect everything. I'm not going to go out and list it because it's just far too much. And don't be afraid to try new things. Lastly, the game does have a meta. It's like what you're supposed to do. But if you're trying new things and you find something that's unbelievably OP, then go for it. Like, there's no reason you can't have a Soraka 80. That's stupid. Actually, that's terrible. You can't have Nami ADC because she has her E that increases her attack power. I mean, it's unlikely that it's actually going to work. But the more you learn about not only what a champion is good at, but if you learn what a champion is bad at, then the more you learn about champions, the better off you're going to be. So don't be afraid to try new things, especially at low levels where people you're facing are in the same position that you are for the most part. There are some smurfs, but don't worry about those. But pretty much that's all you have to follow, you guys. So thanks for listening, and I'll be out with another episode where I'm going to focus on reaction time, and not only how to improve that in game, but some sites and some apps that can help you with that out of game, and I'll show you some examples of that. So thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you next video.